What is up, gamers? It's John Prime, back at it again with another Pokemon video. Um, After my last video that was like an hour long and just talking about like what Pokemon are and all this other stuff, one of my favorite viewers and dear friends, Amber Autumn, suggested like, well, what about like what does it look like when you play the game? And I thought I would show off some of my matches in the VGC 2021 Series 9 format and just like talk about what's going on, what interactions are happening, how the competitive play of the game flows, um, and also just show off some of my cool plays. Not all of them are that cool, but you know. So the first thing you notice is there's this stage of the match right here, which is called Team Preview. I've got some other matches open, and what you see is each team, each player gets to see the opponent's team before the match starts. And in this form, in the VGC format, you have a team of 6, and then you each choose 4 once you see the team preview. So this is a double battle, and I'm going to pick 2 Pokemon to send out based on what my opponent's team looks like. Of like, okay, I need to think here. Who are my 2 first guys that I want to go out, and who are my 2 back guys? And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to think 2 and 2. You might be thinking like 4 composition, or like, I know these 3 auto win, but who's the 4th that can like secure the deal? So lots of factors go into this. And what I love about VGC is this team preview. Some games you win. Some games you just win on team preview. Like you see their team and you're like, oh, my team just outright wins. This isn't one of those. But then other games are won based on what your opponent thinks you'll do, what you think your opponent will do, what you do based on what you think your opponent will do. How it's so many layers of like feints within feints and blah 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 blah. And you still have to make the right decisions once you've picked your Pokemon and play the game and win. So let's just jump into it. I'm gonna press play and it's gonna show the first Pokemon that we send into battle. So I sent out. Well, let's there we go. Oh, wait, go back. It goes real fast. Okay, so on turn 1, I send out Torkoal and Venusaur. I don't remember the other 2 I picked for this. And Chrissite sends out Grimmsnarl and Regieleki. So Torkoal and Venusaur have this cool synergy where Torkoal has Drought and Venusaur has Chlorophyll, which doubles its speed in the sun, and Drought summons the sun. Grimmsnarl is usually a support Pokemon. He has the ability Prankster, which will allow status moves to go first, like Reflect or Taunt or Light Screen. And Regieleki is really, 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 really fast. Just absurdly fast. And can do a lot of damage, can also do support things. So I don't like Regieleki existing right now. And so that's why on turn 1, I immediately switch out for Rhyperior, who has Lightning Rod, which will redirect electric attacks towards Rhyperior. In Gen 8, Dynamaxing is a thing, which just doubles your health and you get cool extra moves. So I Dynamax Venusaur. But on this turn, Grimmsnarl, remember that Prankster thing where he uses status moves first? He uses Trick to swap Venusaur's item with his item. In this case, swapping Venusaur's weakness policy for Grimmsnarl's eject button. So now I'm Dynamaxed for 3 turns. It's great. It's awesome. I'm going to beat him up. And then I get hit by Electro Web, which activates the eject button and switches Venusaur out, wasting all 3 of my Dynamax turns. This is a problem for me. That is a miserable turn one. Is I Dynamax right away, lose my weakness policy, lose those 3 turns, and get swapped out. Not happy about it. So what happens next is, so that was all in 1 turn. So at the start of turn 2, they switch in Incineroar instead of for Regieleki, afraid of what Rhyperior is going to do, or Torkoal. Was a really bad position to be in ultimately based on the Pokemon that were switched in and out. And switching in Incineroar looks really good because Incineroar has Intimidate, which lowers the attack of opposing Pokemon by 1 stage when Incineroar switches in. So it lives the Stomping Tantrum, which is a ground move, lives the Eruption, activates the Berry, Grimmsnarl protects. Next turn, Incineroar Fakes Out, which is a priority move that causes your Pokemon whoever it hits to flinch, which means you don't get to act that turn. Small chip damage. Grimmsnarl hits Torkoal for special attack drop. Rhyperior flinches. Eruption will just deal more damage in the sun. It's a really strong fire move, even with the lowered special attack. Parting Shot is a rotating move. So like U-turn or Volt Switch, but instead of doing damage, it lowers stats. So Parting Shot lowers attack and special attack by 1 stage and allows Incineroar to switch out and bring someone else in. So Parting Shot, Spirit Break, just really lowering my stats here. And I use Yawn with Torkoal because I noticed Torkoal's not doing a lot of damage and isn't going to get a lot of mileage off of things. So Yawn is a move that Grimmsnarl is drowsy, which means at the end of Grimmsnarl's next turn, he will fall asleep. And then this Rock Slide for some damage from Rhyperior. He immediately switches out because he doesn't want to fall asleep and gets another Intimidate off on Rhyperior. The Stomping Tantrum kills Incineroar. The Yawn misses. Dragapult uses Phantom Force, which is the ghost version of Fly. I switch out. I do this double switch here to reset Rhyperior's attack stat back up to normal, and to get Torkoal back off the field so I can get Sun again. Phantom Force is resisted by Urshifu. Spirit Break doesn't do a lot. And I don't have Dynamax anymore. But so that's another switch in a row to get Torkoal's Sun up, which doubles Venusaur's speed for more turns of Sun. This play I didn't really expect. I didn't know that Dragapult was going to Will-O-Wisp onto the Urshifu slot, but it looks like I have an enormous brain by making the Will-O-Wisp be a total waste. The Grimmsnarl switch out is to avoid like Sludge Bomb from Venusaur, which is super effective. But now Regieleki is just asleep. It's a big wasted turn. Focusing down Regieleki because I'm not really... Dragapult hasn't really been able to do a lot. Grimmsnarl protects here, afraid of the Sludge Bomb. Phantom Force connects. Have a little health restore. And then I yawn the Dragapult, getting ready for trying to establish a win condition. So Grimmsnarl activates my weakness policy that he stole at the beginning of the match. Get hit with Acrobatics from Dragapult, doing damage. Misty Terrain is up. Max Guard from Grimmsnarl to survive this and take out Venusaur with Dragapult. That was the double target. The protecting the double target attack was really smart there because he knew I couldn't take out Dragapult. So protecting with Grimmsnarl, attacking with Dragapult was really good. So now Urshifu is on the field. And Urshifu's really scary because it has this ability called Unseen Fist. It also has really good stats. Unseen Fist means that its moves that make contact ignore protect. Just like, nope, sorry. And it's got a really good move pool. It's got like good fighting moves, good dark moves, other things. And now my opponent's very firmly in a bad spot. So tries to max guard again. Sucker Punch kills Dragapult. Body Press kills Grimmsnarl. Body Press is a fighting type move that deals damage based on your defense stat, and Torkoal has a ton of defense. So, like, I think this is a really cool battle that just, like, shows off getting put on the back foot by... So, like, even though I couldn't Dynamax, here's what happened. This turn 1, like, I got an advantageous... So this turn 1, I got in a really good position because Grimmsnarl and Regieleki can't do a lot to Rhyperior. Regieleki probably only knows electric-type moves, which don't affect Rhyperior, and Grimmsnarl is not, like, a damage-dealing Pokemon. So yeah, even though Venusaur got switched out, what else was accomplished this turn? Like, at the end of the day, you have to deal damage to win the battle. So, like, switching in Incineroar, this is cool. But Incineroar doesn't really beat Rhyperior. It's just like Incineroar does... Looking at this team, my opponent didn't bring Ice-Q or Tapu Fini. And bringing Tapu Fini would have been really bad for the Pokemon that I brought. Except I had Venusaur, who beats Tapu Fini pretty soundly. So, ultimately... Here, let me go back to Team Preview. So at Team Preview, you can see Gyarados and you can see Charizard. And when you see those two Pokemon, you're like, oh yeah, Regieleki. I want Regieleki every day of the week. You see Rhyperior, you see Urshifu, two really strong physical attackers. You think Incineroar. Like, no-brainer, you're bringing Incineroar. You have to use Intimidate to deal with these strong physical attackers, Gyarados included. You see Venusaur and Torkoal, and you're like, I don't want to bring Tapu Fini. That sounds terrible. Same with Ice-Q. Ice-Q sees a Sun team, wants to peace out. Which leaves my opponent with 4 Pokemon that they want to send in. Dragapult, Grimmsnarl, Incineroar, and Regieleki. And I know they're bringing Regieleki because I've got Charizard and Gyarados on my team who hate Regieleki. And so, like, based on all of that, they didn't end up choosing a lot of heavy damage dealing Pokemon. The only really big DPS one is Regieleki, because their Incineroar was doing support, Grimmsnarl was running support, and Dragapult had a really weird physical set. Usually Dragapult's better as a special attacker. So ultimately, even though, like, yeah, a lot was happening, but, like, they couldn't ever get strong footing. And I even got to double switch and then switch Torkoal back in. And going for the Will-O-Wisp with Dragapult seemed like they were really relying on Regieleki to deal the damage. And Regieleki used Electro Web, switched out immediately, and then switched back in on turn 8 to just immediately be put to sleep. Even Grimmsnarl, stealing the Venusaur weakness policy, struggled to do anything meaningful. So that's like Team Preview determined that battle, because Tapu Fini would have given Rhyperior a hard time, Torkoal a hard time without the sun, being able to use max moves to change the weather. I don't know what Ice-Q would have done. Okay, well that's one. Let's look at the next one. I'm just checking to see if I'm still recording here. Yeah, we're recording. Okay, cool. So this next battle looks kind of scary. I have a slightly different team than the previous Sun team. I have Milotic on this team because I love Milotic. So it looks like I'm going up against another Torkoal Venusaur team, but they're also mixed weather, which means Tyranitar is here with Sandstream. So I see Porygon 2, which makes me think Trick Room, famous Trick Room setter. I see Alchemy, and I'm confused. Dracovish Tyranitar are a really powerful combo because Like Chlorophyll with Venusaur, which doubles your speed. Dracovish has Sand Rush, which doubles your speed in the sand, in a sandstorm, as opposed to Chlorophyll with the sun. So those are two different speed control tactics on the same team, and usually mixed weather isn't very strong, but in VGC, where you only pick 4, it gives you an option of you can send in Porygon, like you can send in, you don't have to send in all 4, but like depending on what you see, you'll be able to be flexible. But sometimes being flexible isn't the greatest. So let's see who we all pick here. So I send out Charizard, Milotic, and they send Alcremie and Porygon 2. And this is a really weird, just everything to be going on. I do remember what happens this first turn. Actually, I don't remember what moves are used. So Porygon 2 has an ability called Download, where when it switches in, whichever of your defenses is lower, it gets a stat boost to its attack or special attack. In this case, my physical defense was lower, so it got an attack boost, which is very huge because Porygon 2 getting a special attack boost is really scary. Charizard Dynamaxes and uses Gmax Wildfire, which is a big damage over time move. Alcremie uses a move called Decorate, which, as you can see, boosted Porygon's attack and special attack by 2 stages. The Muddy Water goes off, does some damage, doesn't lower the accuracy. Max Strike almost kills Charizard at this huge damage output Porygon. This is a normal type move. And Milotic's Competitive goes off, which raises its special attack by 2 stages because her speed was dropped. So I'm not in a good spot right now. My speed has been lowered. This Porygon is full of juice. Alcremie is probably going to get off another Decorate or something. And I do have damage over time going with Gmax Wildfire, but I'm nervous. So Dazzling Gleam barely doesn't kill Charizard, which is huge. Because getting to kill Alcremie right there, trading because the Life Orb damage from Charizard, that was essential. So now a couple things happen. Porygon 2 takes damage between turns from Gmax Wildfire, and my next 2 guys, so Charizard, Milotic didn't make it, Rhyperior and Urshifu are here. And this is where things get weird. So I'm out of Dynamax. Porygon 2 has another Dynamax turn. Tyranitar uses Breaking Swipe. And I think this is Choice Scarf Tyranitar, because that's the only way he could move before Urshifu. I'm pretty sure I'm running max speed Urshifu, which would be 163. And that would mean Tyranitar has Choice Scarf, which multiplies your speed by 1.5, but you can only use the first move you pick, which means this Tyranitar is now locked into Breaking Swipe, which lowers the physical attack of my Pokemon by 1 stage. It's a Dragon-type move. So this close combat, however, crits and kills Porygon 2. I don't know if that crit mattered because of ignoring the attack drop, but it might have. So here comes the second Breaking Swipe. The Wicked Blow is a guaranteed crit on Dracovish. Vicious Rend kills. High Horsepower takes out Dracovish, so we trade there. The Wildfire does more damage. And because it's locked into Breaking Swipe, it can't use any super effective moves against Rhyperior. And that is the game. So this one is just a weird... I don't know how much that crit mattered against the Porygon 2. I could probably run a calc for it. But that's such a weird win condition of Tyranitar locked into Breaking Swipe. Why didn't... Yeah, and what happened was Dracovish needed to kill Rhyperior. Dracovish needed to use Vicious Rend on Rhyperior. Because Urshifu, let's go back to turn 4. At the start of turn 4, Urshifu had, defense was lowered from the close combat. I don't know if it would have mattered. So Breaking Swipe puts Urshifu at 50% health. I think killing Rhyperior, I don't know if that would have done it, though. Yeah, I don't think Tyranitar could have done it because it just would have taken one hit. No, because Tyranitar would have had his health back. Yeah, it's a weird decision-making tree. So what could have gone different here? I think if my opponent picked... I don't know. Yeah, it's just a funny, like... That's how VGC plays out. Is sometimes you pick all the good things, and sometimes you fumble, and sometimes you get a crit that may or may not have mattered. And yeah, even going up against similar weather type teams, a lot of different things happen. All right, let's go to the next one. So here, let's talk more about speed control. I'm using a Trick Room archetype team, which means Trick Room is a move that goes at the very bottom of the priority bracket, and for 5 turns, whoever is the slowest on the field moves first. And I can tell right away my opponent's team is very fast. Dragapult has huge speed. Does it show? Yeah, Dragapult has really big speed. So does Tornadus. It's got Prankster for status moves. Spectrier is really fast. Amogus from Amogus is really slow and is probably here to deal with Trick Room Pokemon. Dracovish is just Dracovish, and Landorus is essential. So you can see already that I've got Porygon 2, who likes to set up Trick Room, Reunicluse, who loves to set up and use Trick Room, Tapu Lele, who can't learn Trick Room, but has Psychic Terrain, which is great, and then some generally slow Pokemon like Tyranitar and Rhyperior. But Urshifu, if you're running min speed, will be slower than like fast offensive Pokemon, but not slower than Trick Room Pokemon. So he's a really tricky guy to fit into a Trick Room team, because having his moves that make contact go through Protect means your opponent can't stall through Trick Room by protecting. He's so dangerous. But if they're a Trick Room team normal style, there's so many. Trick Room is weird. So let's see who we pick. Porygon 2, Urshifu, Tornadus, and Dracovish. Here, I luckily got the special attack download boost, which is incredible. Dracovish has... So, here's what happens. I remember this first turn. I watched this recently. Tornadus is going to use Tailwind, which is a status move. It's kind of like the opposite of Trick Room, where for 4 turns, your side of the field's speed is doubled. You're fast. So he's going to Tailwind and then Vicious Rend, trying to instantly kill Urshifu with the 180 base power water type move because he's going first. But here's what happens. So there's the Tailwind, Vicious Rend. I survive with Focus Sash, Stone Edge Tornadus with Urshifu, killing him, and then set up Trick Room. Ignore this. This is some guy asking me for help. Tornadus was effectively useless because I just got to set up Trick Room for free, and now they're guaranteed faster pretty much because of Tailwind. The right play would have been to use Taunt on Porygon 2 to prevent Trick Room from working. So now Trick Room's up. Amogus is going to use Rage Powder, which is a redirecting move. So that targets all of my attacks onto Amogus. The Vicious Rend going after because it's not going before one of my Pokemon, it doesn't deal the huge bonus damage. So I wanted to. So here's the fun thing. Electric Terrain prevents sleep. So I wanted to use Max Lightning over a different move. I was trying to target Dracovish because Amogus knows Spore, which is 100% accurate sleep move. So not only did the Max Lightning deal really big damage, it set up Electric Terrain, which makes Spore useless. Which means I'm not afraid of Amogus at all. I think it's useless right now. So when going for this Protect, I expertly predict and double target Dracovish, taking it out. I do die to the hail damage between turns with Urshifu, but that's okay, because now Tyranitar is here. Dragapult, Dynamax's Amogus dies. And I'm pretty sure that this is choice banned Tyranitar, which means I'm not sure if it was, but it's big damage. Max Phantasm, because I don't know what other attacking moves it has. Life Orb, hail damage, and that's the game. That is Trick Room. Trick Room is so powerful. Against my opponent's really fast team, my slow Pokemon and my fake slow Pokemon, Urshifu, completely tore through these fast, kind of fragile Pokemon with their bulk. Even just Focus Sash on Urshifu... Oh, smacking my microphone. Focus Sash on Urshifu is, like, huge. This game would have been so much different if my opponent had taunted Porygon to prevent me from using Trick Room. And also if I hadn't used the Max Lightning or read the Protect. But at that point, they picked Tornadus, Dragapult, Amogus, and Dracovish. Wait, did they bring Spectrion? I just don't remember. No. So, like, I see this team and I think, okay, 2 ghost types. Urshifu loves that because he's fighting dark. I see the 2 genies, but usually you'd see Thundurus and not Tornadus. And I think, okay, well, I'm definitely doing Trick Room because Landorus loses in Trick Room to, like, the Trick Room Pokemon. I don't know. It's a really funny, like, matchup when if you get Trick Room on your first turn and your opponent doesn't stop it, you kind of just win because you have speed control. You're going first every single turn. And having Porygon with that big special attack boost from download, my opponent was staggered and on the back foot trying to catch up. But slow Dracovish isn't good. Yeah, it's just a big mess. And that's what Trick Room can do to you if you don't know how to deal with it. And then here's one more. This is a meme team that I made. Every Pokemon on this team knows a form of self-destruct. I think Tapu Fini knows Misty Explosion, and everyone else knows self-destruct or something like it. So it's Landorus, Metagross, Gigalith, Blacephalon, Tapu Fini, and Snorlax versus 2 Pokemon that are quad weak to fire, and that's their, like, only weakness. Raichu, who knows Fake Out, and Landorus with Intimidate, Rotom Heat, and Lapras. So yeah, you see, like, the fire, water, grass, but also double electric and ground. Not a whole lot else going on here. I know that Blacephalon is my win condition to take out Ferrothorn and Kartana. I just have to get to that point. So let's see what happens here. So we see Lapras, Landorus versus Tapu Fini, Blacephalon. I think I was probably a bit too eager to send out Blacephalon here. The good news about this Intimidate is since Tapu Fini and Blacephalon are both special attackers, I am not worried about this at all. Misty Seed is a held item that when Misty Terrain is up, raises your special defense. So that procs on Tapu Fini. I immediately switch out because I'm like, nope, Blacephalon is instantly dead. This is bad. I need Blacephalon to win this match. And this Intimidate lowers their Landorus's attack, which is effectively, switching in Landorus is effectively a defense boost against any physical attacker, which is like, it makes sense, but it's weird. So Lapras Dynamaxes, Landorus uses Rock Slide, which does not a lot of damage because of the boost. Lapras has Water Absorb, and this Muddy Water nearly kills their Landorus, and my Landorus is just eats the dust. Snorlax comes out and gets hit with this Gmax Resonance, which activates dual screens. So this Aurora Veil is Light Screen and Reflect as one move. It's really strong. That's why Gigantamax Lapras is really cool. Landorus is flying. So Landorus is in the air, can't hit him. The Aurora Veil is up. And then I use Belly Drum with Snorflax, which puts its attack at +4. I then Dynamax Snorlax. Tapu Fini takes the Fly, which doesn't do much because of the minus attack, which is really, really big. Dazzling Gleam takes out Landorus, even through the Aurora Veil. And Snorlax hits Lapras for big damage through Aurora Veil. I don't remember what Gmax Replenish does. I think I used it wrong. I put out a substitute here to take a hit from Lapras. And I'm trying to avoid the seeds getting seeded here. Will-O-Wisp doesn't work because Misty Terrain is up, which protects against status effects. So that is a misplay right there. Muddy Water does big damage, and Snorlax does the rest. Ferrothorn starts using Iron Defense, and I'm scared. Except I have a trick up my sleeve. Are you ready? So here's the Protect. Self-Destruct at +4 attack, dealing 27, even though it's resisted, through the Aurora Veil with the defense boosts. And now, this is the coolest thing about the Self-Destruct team. It doesn't make it good, but I think it's really interesting, is using Self-Destruct, I get a free switch in. I don't have to, like, switch during my turn. Is Snorlax doesn't have Fire Punch. There's nothing I can do to Ferrothorn. I don't want to let it just sit there and set up. I'm just going to deal some damage and switch out. And I switch in Blacephalon, use Mind Blown, which damages everyone, and Blacephalon takes 50% of its health recoil, and kill Ferrothorn. So that's an example of, like, how do you have to look at your opponent's team and know what you need to win, because killing Kartana and Ferrothorn were not going to be easy things without a fire type Pokemon. And I don't think anyone has any fire moves besides Blacephalon, who is Fire Ghost. I'm surprised. Who did they actually end up using? Hang on. They had Lapras, Landorus, Ferrothorn, and Rotom Heat. So, like, that's good type composition-wise. But ultimately, who's dealing the damage if you don't bring Kartana? Kartana has massive damage. And Landorus got intimidated once and struggled to put out any damage, even with Life Orb. Which is the problem of, if you're going to Dynamax Lapras instead of Landorus, you're losing out on his damage output, getting run over by bulky Pokemon, having Fly reduce damage over time, and even with Aurora Veil and defensive Pokemon not being able to survive any meaningful amount of time. So, like, that's what some VGC battles look like. Of course there's battles I lose, and I'm not playing those because they're really sad. Like the one where I miss 3 95% accurate moves in a row at the very end of a game when I have Trick Room up and I'm literally going to win. I'm one attack away from winning, and we're both like, GG, that was a good game, well played, and then I miss 3 high horsepowers and I lose. I'm not playing that one. But I hope y'all, like, enjoyed looking at like what matches look like, and like how to use team preview and how to like make plays and do cool things, and thinking about what your opponent's going to do, and making smart, tactical, cool decisions with Pokemon you like. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. Wait, let me do the ending soon. I love this little title card. I think it's hilarious. All right. Bye.